What is up, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome back to a brand new featured archetypes. Today we're going to be talking about Darklords. A lot of new support released for the Darklord archetype as a whole. In the most recent, I don't know if it's the most recent, I can't even remember right now, but Destiny Soldiers, a lot of new cards came out for the deck. I really mainly want to talk about some of the newer ones, like the new ones, like Morningstar, Ixchel, Tez, Katzalapoka, Nastin, Amdusius, or Amdusk, and Superbia, which I don't think is a brand new one, but I think it's relevant to the archetype. And then, of course, the spells and traps. There are a ton of Darklords. This featured archetype would be insanely long if we went over each of all of them. I'm sure you guys want to know about Darklord Marie. As long as cards in the graveyard increase your life points by 200 points during each of your standby phases. Level 5 with 700 attack. I know, so busted. I'm sure most of you guys want to know about that. But like, they're on the sidebar here, so I'll keep that up. But I mainly want to go over, of course, the really important ones for this video, and hopefully the quality is better, because right now we're shooting in a crisp 60 FPS, so hope everything looks nice. But without further ado, we're going to be looking at, first of all, Darklord Morningstar, which hopefully I can get a better picture up here. If not, hopefully it's in English. It probably won't be in English, but I'll try my best for an English picture. But basically cannot be special summoned. If this card is tribute summon, you can special summon one Darklord. You can special summon Darklord monsters from your hand and or deck up to the number of effect monsters your opponent controls. So that's pretty good. They got a pretty big board. You can summon out a lot of Darklord monsters, and some of them have really good stats. We're talking about 3,000 attack and 3,000 defense. Okay, I thought that was 3,800 defense. I was about to freak out, but that's still pretty good. 3,000 attack, 3,000 defense. Level 11. Pretty big, beefy monster. I think it's one of my favorite looking Darklords out of all of them. So basically, you special summon them up to the number of effect monsters your opponent controls. While you control another Darklord monster, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. And then once per turn, you can send cards from your top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of Darklord monsters on the field. And if you do, gain 500 life points for each Darklord card sent to the graveyard. So it's like a card trooper, and it can just flood the field with Darklords. And once you do that, you just mill from the top of your deck. And the way I see it, you get some pretty decent bonuses from having some of these cards in the grave. Like we looked at Darklord Marie. You know, you gain 500 life points every time it's in the grave, or every standby phase. So maybe you attack the one of Marie, and you're definitely not losing in time because you're always gaining life points. Definitely a solid card. I don't think the deck plays too many of them. Maybe 1 or 2 copies. I'm not too sure. And then the big money card. We got Darklord Ixdab, more like that. That was a pretty good joke, wasn't it? But anyways, Darklord Ixchel, the most expensive Darklord card I think in the set, at least in the archetype right now. I think it's around $40 a copy. Might have went down, might have went up since last time I checked. But the last time I knew it enough to like look up how much they were, they're about $40 a piece. So that's pretty good. And it is a pretty good card. Basically, you can discard this card and one Darklord card to draw 2. So it's like pretty much a pot of greed. Not necessarily Pot of Greed. You can't really compare any draw power to Pot of Greed, because Pot of Greed is just boom, draw 2, easy, +1. And then you got Pot of Desires, which is like a -9, whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, still pretty good to get that draw power and put some stuff in your graveyard, and then during either player's turn you can pay 1,000 life points. Then target one Darklord spell or trap in your graveyard, apply that target's effect, then shuffle that target into the deck. You can only use one effect of Darklord Ixchel once per turn, and you can only special summon Darklord Ixchels once per turn. Once per turn, and then you can only special summon Darklord Ixchel or Ixchels once per turn. Huh. Interesting, so they don't want you summoning more than one of these in a turn, which is pretty interesting. But its effect is pretty good. You just pay 1,000 life points, and then you target a Darklord spell or trap in your grave, and you apply that effect, which is really nice, and then it gets shuffled back in the deck. When we look at some of the spells and traps here, one of them is just a Rhoda. Like, one of them is just straight up search a Darklord, so that's really good. Just get a free Rhoda, and the other one here is you just reborn one in defense position. So that's pretty good too. Pretty good to mimic some of these spells or traps. And I think that's why it's one of the best ones. You can pitch it to draw and it can copy any spell or trap, which is amazing. So definitely worthy, I think, in my opinion, as for an archetype like this to be up there in price. Next, we've got Darklord Tez Hopefully I pronounced that right. Probably didn't. But anyways, if a Darklord monster you control will be destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can discard this card instead. During either player's turn, you can pay 1,000 life points, and then target one Darklord spell trap card in your graveyard, apply that target's effect, then shuffle that target into the deck. You can only use this effect of Darklord Tez once per turn, and then you can only special summon Darklord Tez blah 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 once per turn. So it's got like the same effect as Ixchel towards the very end, but basically the way I see it, this one's sort of like a Necroza Gungnir or Necroza Trishula, where you can pitch it to basically protect one of your Necroz monsters. This one does the same thing, but it protects your Darklord, so that's pretty good. Keeps them from being destroyed. That is a good effect. Coming in with the stats of 2,800 attack and 2,100 defense, level 9. And then we got Nostin, another one that has recently jumped up in price. I think they're around $20 to $25 a copy again. Could be a little off, but that's okay. Basically, this guy right here, level 7, 2,500 attack with a 2,600 defense, or 2,600 attack, sorry, I can't read that. You can discard 2 other Darklord cards, special summon this card from your hand. So he's sort of like a Megalo, if you think about it. During either player's turn, you can pay 1,000 life points to target Darklord spell or trap, copy its effect, and then shuffle the target into the deck. So what I'm noticing is, a lot of these guys, pretty much all of these, except for Morningstar, these 3 right here, Ixtab, Tesla, whatever, and Nastin, they all have the ability to copy Darklord spell or trap effects, which means, I'm not too sure, but it says you can only activate 1 banishment of Darklords per turn. Let's say you play a banishment, and you use Nostin's effect. You can just target it and you get 2 searches in a turn, the way I think of it, because I don't know if you're technically applying, you're like playing that card again, because it says in parentheses you can only use one of that Darklord banishment once per turn. I think it's a hard once per turn. So I don't know if you technically would be able to use it twice per se, with the effect of an Aston or an Ixtab or Ixchel, whatever you want to call it, because all it says is then target 1 Darklord spell trap card in your graveyard, apply that target's effect, then special summon that target, or then shuffle that target into the deck. So I don't know, maybe you guys can stir some discussion up in the comments about that for me, and let me know if you'd technically be able to use Darklord banishment or casting out the Darklords more than once per turn. I don't know. I don't know if you can get around the hard once per turn effect. And then we'll look at Dusk here, or Amdusius. Basically, a little weaker on the stat side, is level 6, 1,800 attack with a sturdy 2,800 defense. You can discard this card and 1 Darklord card, then target 1 Darklord card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there. You discard this card and 1 Darklord card, then target 1 Darklord card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So it's sort of like a unicorn, but it's a little more fair. Hell, it even looks like a unicorn. And Unicorn kind of looked like a unicorn. I don't know. This is like evil Necroz. I don't know if you could view it that way. Add it to your hand. During either player's turn, you can pay 1,000 life points and target 1 Darklord spell or trap. And yeah, this is during either player's turn. Are these? Did I even? During either player's turn, you pay that during either player's turn. Huh? Maybe. You know what? Scratch that comment section. I appreciate the help. But since I really wasn't even paying attention, you can use this during either player's turn. So you technically pay that 1,000. You get that search. You may not be able to do it twice in the same turn, but you search 1 turn, and you can still search during your opponent's turn, and even search for a card. Where was it? Like a Tezcatlipoca. You can search this during your opponent's turn, and you can protect your Darklord. So that's actually a pretty decent setup. This card is actually really good. Then target 1 Darklord spell trap, and then it applies the same effect as pretty much these last 4 here. They all can copy a Darklord spell or trap, and then you can only special summon 1 of them once per turn. So it seems like it has a slower play style. I could be wrong about that. I really haven't seen the deck play too much. This is like one of my first times really getting an in-depth look at it with you guys. And then we got Darklord Superbia. I think one of the big flashy new ones, but I think it's still pretty important. When this card is special summon from the graveyard, you can target 1 fairy type monster in your graveyard except itself and special summon it. So once you revive it, it revives something else along with it, and you can revive pretty much any other Darklord in your graveyard for free, and maybe trigger one of their effects. And then we got for the spells, you have Altar of the Darklords or Darklord Contract, which is basically a monster reborn for your Darklords. And this also goes well to note, if you can use this during the player's turn while it's in your grave using one of your Darklords effects, you get a free monster born during your opponent's turn. You can disrupt their plays with that as well. So that's solid. And like we talked about, the Rhoda here, Banishment of the Darklords. Add one Darklord card from your deck to your hand, except Banishment of the Darklords, and you can only use one effect per turn, which is fine, because you can just use it during your opponent's turn anyways, and get a free-ass search. And then right here, we got Darklord Rebellion, Trap card. You might be turned off by its Trap card, but I think it's pretty decent. Send one Darklord monster from your hand, or face it from your field to the graveyard, destroy one card in the field. You can only activate one per turn. So it's basically a Raigeki break. Not too bad. And then the last one here is Darklord's Temptation or Darklord Enchantment. Send one Darklord monster from your hand or face up from your side of the field, or side of the field to the graveyard. Take control one face up monster your opponent controls until the end phase. So it's like a Change of Heart, but it's a trap card, so you're never going to be using this during... Well, yeah, I guess you could use it during your turn, but I guess it'd be more beneficial to use it during your opponent's turn instead. Say you're playing against trains. I know it's not too much of a meta example. They go Night Express and the Derrick Crane. You flip this up, you steal the Night Express or the Derrick Crane, and there goes their whole play. Maybe against like ABC, they go Gold Gadget into a letter. You know, you steal the Gold Gadget. They can't go into Tsukiyomi. They can't continue playing. Maybe playing against metal foes. They summon out a Gofu. I don't think much decks were playing Gofu. I don't think Billy Breaksbill was playing Gofu. I don't know if that's still meta anymore, so I apologize if it's not. But you could steal... does this target take control of one face-up monster your opponent controls into the end phase? So I don't think that targets. I don't think that targets. So you could take a Kieran. You could take a Kieran with that. Interesting. Not that that's too game-breaking, but you could still take a Kieran. This does not target the way I'm reading it. Non-targeting monster takeage, and I like that. I like that a lot. And then on the sidebar here, we got Darklord Desire. Tribute summon this card by tributing one fairy type monster. You target one monster your opponent controls. This card loses 1,000 attack, and you can set that target to the graveyard. So yeah, a lot of these Darklords on the side, they don't have the greatest effect. Like that one is really complicated. I don't want to read. There's a lot of tokens involved, so I don't care. And another thing about these is they're all fairies, so I forgot to put in Arklord Christia, which I guess I can do now. Arklord Christia. So you can play Arklord Christia in this deck pretty easily with your ability to get controlled amount of fairies into the graveyard. You can easily put a Darklord X-Tab on field with an Arklord Christia and lock out your opponent. Maybe you've got a Taz Teklapoka in your hand. I hopefully I didn't butcher that. Probably did. I don't care anymore. But if you got one of those in, you can easily protect your board with that in hand. Chilling with a Christia, and then maybe a enchantment. You can steal something if they even try to do some of that funny shit. But that's busted. That trap card is awesome. You can play Arklord Christia in the deck. You can play Allure of Darkness in the deck. You can play so much other stuff. You can play like DDDs with the deck. You can play Shadals. There's a lot of different ways you can play this deck, and the way I see it right now, the deck is pretty cheap if you want to pick it up. Besides, you're going to definitely be shelling out a little bit of cash for your Ixchels and your Nostins, but you do need those. But everything else, I would say, is pretty much dirt cheap. You know, I don't see anything in this, this pool being over $5. Extra deck, I don't know what the extra deck looks like. You can always check out a profile. There will be a guest upload from a channel soon featuring Darklords, and I'll give you guys more info on that once that video goes up. And not telling you who it's from, there will be a guest upload on my channel, so I'm really honored to be doing a guest upload for somebody. So be looking out for that. Darklords will be involved. I think there's Darklords involved, so look out for that. And that's pretty much going to do it for this featured archetype. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for joining me in this featured archetype series. It's been a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun doing it. We're going to be doing tons more featured archetypes. One of my favorite types of discussion videos to do. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to, of course, leave a like And like I said, any discussion you want to have down in the comments, feel free to do so. Discuss away on your thoughts of the Darklord archetype. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Winterkill signing out. We'll see you in the next one.